When I was in the fourth grade, the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, came out. I can remember going to see it with my family, and I was mesmerized for 2 hours. I've been a huge fan ever since. In fact, I'm kind of having withdrawals about not being able to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney right now because of this social distancing. But if you've ever seen the movie, and really, who hasn't, there is a scene about a quarter of the way into the movie where Luke Skywalker first meets Ben Kenobi, that old Jedi Knight who begins to tell Luke about his father, who, spoiler alert, we come to find out is actually Darth Vader, but ends up giving Luke his father's lightsaber. Well, during the course of that conversation, Ben tells Luke about the Force, and he explains that the Force is what gives a Jedi his power, that it's this energy field that is created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together. Well, as a kid, as a fourth grade kid, I mean, that's very cool, right? I ate that up. But unfortunately, I think many people imagine God to be like this invisible, impersonal, faceless, formless energy force. Maybe that's even why some people reject the concept of God altogether. Because when we think of him in terms like that, it's easy to dismiss that concept or to consider it fanciful or uninteresting. But those concepts are misguided, and actually they're uninformed myths. I'd like to ask you to think hard for a moment regarding these truths that God has revealed about himself. First, God has created, he surrounds, and he guides the universe. Now, how? Well, we don't really know. I mean, how can a finite mind comprehend the infinite? But secondly, God is also present, and he's present everywhere. God is spirit. He's not limited by time, distance, or location. Third, we know that God is not this impersonal, mysterious, elusive energy force out there somewhere. No, God is not a thing. He's not an it. He is very, very personal. Listen to the words written in Proverbs chapter 8, verses 17 to 21. I love those who love me, and those who search for me find me. With me are riches and honor and lasting wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than solid food, and my harvest than pure silver. I walk in the ways of righteousness along the paths of justice, giving wealth as an inheritance to those who love me and filling their treasuries. Do you notice all the personal pronouns that God uses there, the I's and the me's? God, the true God, is innately personal. In fact, one of the reasons that Jesus came was so that we could see the Father through the life of the Son. Jesus came to make God known and personal. Jesus came to make God seen. Jesus explained God to us. So we don't need to wonder what God is like. Through Jesus' life, he shows us. Now, here's a really mind-blowing, profound truth. God is personally interested in you. He knows your name. Jesus said he knows how many hairs you have on your head. Peter tells us that he deeply cares about you. And God promises that he listens when we call out to him. Like in Jeremiah 29, you will call out to me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. In fact, you matter so much to God that he would send his Son to give up his own life on the cross for you. I know that conceptually this can be hard to believe. And I know that for some of you, life circumstances and situations make it seem like a lie. And I recognize that you might not feel this way or have experienced this in your own life. But I want to remind you of his truth spoken over and over, all throughout Scripture. You matter. his created masterpiece. You are not a mistake, no matter what you've been told. God is not far off. And if you will honestly seek him in your life, he will reveal himself and will draw near to you. He promises that. If you're struggling right now, if you're feeling lost or you're feeling hopeless, maybe you've been abandoned in some way, I want to encourage you, go to him. Why don't you ask him to reveal himself to you today? Even with your doubts and your fears, go to him. Lay all those out. Lay your heart bare to him. After all, those personal promises that we just talked about could only come from a loving, personal God. And he is more than capable of helping you become victorious in your life, just like the Force did for Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars franchise. Except real life is not science fiction. God bless.